Hello and welcome to Ages of Conflict World War Simulator. If you'd like to check out the game, there is a link in the description. This is basically where you can download, create, and indeed play your own maps and simulations in a very interesting manner. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Now, there is a workshop with over 20,000 items available inside it, and I've done the unthinkable. I have downloaded a Bannerlord. Yes, a literal Bannerlord map here, and this is literally from the workshop. You could see the creator right here, and indeed, we can play this scenario right away, and I can show you exactly what the game is all about. So, this is basically one of the most fun games that I think I've actually seen recently. I actually bought two of these kinds of games recently, and one of them is more fantasy focused, and this one is a little bit more generalized. And I really love this kind of thing, because what you can do is you can literally do anything you want in this game. Basically, you can influence stuff. For example, let's say, look at this. Look at what I can do here with the Kingdom of Vlandia. I can control this. Look at this. Force a nation to be a puppet state. The target cannot already be a puppet or have its own puppets. And you can hold shift to keep using the command multiple times if you so desire. You can also rename it, obviously. You can disable the nation AI. So if you want to play, play it yourself, I suppose you can do that. I have very limited experience with this game, by the way, but I have just absolutely been wanting to play this and show you how cool this actually is, because I did a brief a brief little like messing around in it where I didn't even play on this map. I played it on my own map that I just randomly created, and I just created my own nations. And the amount of very cool, weird stuff that can happen is really fun. So as you can see, look at this. Force nations into a war that only ends when the other side doesn't exist or both run out of gold. The AI won't declare these wars by themselves. And you can also annex and do all that other stuff. And there's even a god mode here up in the top right here as well. Well, you can obviously, click down here and then it adds this little menu, and you can literally do things like you can edit the territory of a particular place. You can spawn additional nations. So if you, for example, wanted to spawn an additional nation down here, you could technically do that. And should I actually do that? You know what? I'm not going to do that yet. You know why? Because I actually think that it might be a cool idea to see what happens without me interfering. And so what we're going to do is we're going to play this, right? And then we're going to see what happens. All right, so here we go. This is the beginning, and you can see here, this is what happens. You see, the map gets painted, quote unquote. And look at this. The Crusade and the Northern Empire have formed an alliance. The Kingdom of Vlandia and Sturgia have formed an alliance. Western Empire and the Britannians, they've also formed an alliance. The Azerai have joined a Western Empire pact. The Southern Empire has joined Balder Khan's league. And look what's happening. The Vlandians are absolutely eating the Britannians right now. And we also have the Northern Empire supporting the Southern Empire with some gold. You can see the Southern Empire is literally absorbing them right now. They are expanding their borders dramatically. And this is exactly the reason why I wanted to show you this, because this is so... Oh, look at that. Boom. There you go. The Western Empire was immediately conquered by the Southern Empire, and we are going to get to see exactly what transpires. Obviously, as I said before, you can create your own nation wherever you want. You can create your own maps as well. You can edit this however you so desire, and you can create some crazy scenarios. Look at the Britannians. They are fighting back against Vlandia right now, massively in actual fact. Look at this. Vlandia is so dead. 100% so dead right now. Yep, there it is. They are completely and utterly destroyed. That is amazing. And you can see the year, by the way. You can see the year down in the bottom right here. It is year 22. It has taken 22 years for them to get to this point, and we started in year 1. So if you think about how long it takes for things to happen in Bannerlord, obviously this is a little bit different in regards to its timing. Obviously, I'm not entirely sure what kind of you know, what kind of stipulations it has. But look at Sturgia as well. Sturgia is also looking extremely small right now. It looks like this is going to come. Oh, wait a minute. It might come down to the Northern Empire, and I guess we'll see. The Aserai is supporting the Battanians a little bit here as well. You can see if I zoom in, by the way, you can zoom in almost all the way here, and you can see the map creator or the scenario creator has gone so far as to literally add actual cities. And I am just absolutely blown away by that, because just look at this. I can literally select this and I can choose city act. Well, I actually can't choose city actions right now, but I can actually change a variety of things. I can literally rename this if I so desire. I can rename it. I can do all kinds of things with it. I'm obviously not going to do anything with it right now because I don't want to influence what actually transpires here, but yeah. You can literally zoom in all the way. You can zoom in all the way on the Sultanate too, and you can see exactly what's happening here. You can see exactly how much gold they have. Gold is pretty much the main determiner for, you know, what's going to happen and who's going to be the most powerful, as far as I can tell. Gold seems to be obviously the main driver, because obviously you're going to pay your people, you're going to pay your troops and so on, and that's really going to make a big difference. The Southern Empire is indeed supporting the Northern Empire, and the Sturgians have now been eliminated. The Khuzait don't seem to really be making any moves whatsoever, which is definitely making things a little bit uncomfortable for them. The Battanians are now moving in on the Southern Empire, though, along with the Aserai. Big twin-pronged attack. The Aserai coming from the south and the Battanians coming from the west. This is absolutely monstrous. The amount of time that they could have taken here. The Northern Empire is supporting the Khuzait Khanate as well, and for some reason is also supporting the Southern Empire. Yeah, well, the borders are obviously going to change over time, and I'm very intrigued about what is about to happen here, because I can only imagine once there are two factions remaining, it's either going to be one monstrous faction that is insanely huge, or it's going to be two that are fighting on even levels, and I can only imagine how long that would take. Let's actually see. I'm going to increase the speed to ×2. I was playing on 1.5. We're now on ×2 speed. The Southern Empire is now completely destroying the Aserai, apparently. Yes, they did. Oh, the Western Empire came back. There was a revolt. Look at that. There was a revolt in the Southern Empire, and now the Western Empire has been reformed. The Northern Empire has abandoned Baltacan's league as well, and the Western Empire has rejoined it. And the Northern Empire has established a core for 1,500 gold, and they've joined Baltacan's league, and they're doing consistently trying to eliminate the Southern Empire. The Southern Empire have an insane amount of gold right now. As you can see right here, they have 11,000. Pretty crazy. And you can even select them if you so desire, and you can actually see exactly how they're doing. You can see their area size. You can see basically every single thing about them. Okay, what's going on here? Okay. Southern Empire supporting the Northern Empire with 3,104. Okay, we've got some strategic... we've got some very strategic payments from the Southern Empire here. They are very much doing that on purpose to try to destroy the Battanians. As you can see, the Southern Empire 100% funded that war for the Western Empire as well, to literally... these guys, they're coming back. They're coming back right now, and they're actually expanding their borders dramatically. They're using the funds that the Southern Empire provided them to fight back against the very people that paid them. That is hilarious. And now let's see what happens. I would be very surprised if the Western Empire manages to be the main driving force behind the new conquerors in the world here. It does look as though that might be the case. Oh, the Southern Empire and the Northern Empire have now formed an alliance as well. This is fundamentally going to shift the balance of power in Calradia here. And you can see the Western Empire is, very much losing loads and loads of people. We have a revolt here as well. Look at this. A massive revolt has just happened, and we have a new faction. Actually, a puppet state has been factioned by the Northern Empire. Has been created by the Northern Empire, and, well... that's not really... I'm not sure if that's really going to help them that much. I guess it is. Oh, never mind. Okay, we've got an even bigger revolt coming on here. So there was a revolt in the Southern Empire, Northern Empire, and again in the Northern Empire. A training field was formed. Well, that's interesting. That's definitely not going to do too much, but yeah. The Aserai might actually be coming back as well. And yeah, there was also a revolt against the Master Northern Empire here, and they basically just got conquered almost instantaneously. That is bound to happen, of course. And what do we have going on? The training field became a puppet state. Well, that's very funny. Oh, wait a minute. We've got some more revolts happening here. Sanala has formed its own faction, and I highly doubt they're going to be able to do anything. The Northern Empire looks like the giant that is going to have to be felled by whoever. I am actually not entirely sure who is going to come back from this. This is going to be extremely difficult, unless there's going to be some kind of civil war. There has to be some kind of revolt potentially. Sanala is here we go. The Southern Empire does look as though it will be eliminated, and yeah, it looks as though it is going to be conquered very soon. Otherwise they're going to be left with basically nothing. And yes, there we go. Yeah, whoa, okay. Wait a minute, let me pause for a real quick second here. You can see exactly what has happened now. Look at this. We have this insane Western Empire small faction here. We have Zestia, which is in actual fact a very small fief as far as I remember, and Zeonica obviously is a town. And then we have the Aserai here as well. The Aserai only have 978 gold by the looks of things. And how are the Northern Empire doing in regards to their cash? I can't really tell that right now. If I click on them, I can't really see that. Oh, they're losing money right now. They're losing money quite dramatically here. So I wouldn't be surprised if they are going to be having some kind of civil wars going on here. They need to get paid very soon. Otherwise, things are not going to go well for them. And well, as you see, they've stalled. They have completely and utterly stalled. They are not doing very well whatsoever. And you can see that the Aserai are now starting to get cannibalized once again. That is to be expected, of course. As Sanala... Oh, wait a minute. Look at that. What? Revolt in Sanala. Huge amounts of different factions have just been created. And I can only imagine what is going to happen. Imagine this. If we have another 100 years of gameplay here, imagine if one of these small factions manages to rise up from the ashes of this revolt and create its very own dominating force in the world. That would be absolutely insane. And it does look as though, it actually looks as though that might even be the case. I did get an achievement as well, by the way. I did get an achievement for that multi-revolt event happening, and basically it was have a nation get 10 simultaneous revolts. Yes, that's how crazy that was. Yeah, pretty amazing. All right, let's see. We've got a syndicate forming here as well. We've got alliances. We've got many syndicates being created as well here. And what do we have going on? Okay, yeah, we got some people. Oh no, never mind. The Sultanate I thought was actually coming back, but they're not. And they have been conquered by the Khuzait, and instead now there has been a revolt in Karinia Castle, and they're creating even more factions. I'm surprised the Northern Empire isn't doing anything. They are completely stagnant right now. Very surprised. I would have expected them to do something, but no, they are not. And this just goes to show, imagine this would actually happen in Bannerlord itself. This would be insane. Obviously, there are ways to make this happen, of course. There are mods that can actually create, clans that can create their own factions and so on and so forth. But this is extremely cool to see this on this kind of scale, in my opinion. I actually really love this kind of thing, and I have very much wanted to play a game like this for quite some time. Oh, here we go. Hello. The Northern Empire has massive amounts of cash, 17,000 in actual fact. I am kind of wondering why they're why they're not really doing anything. Oh, here we go, here we go. They might actually be making a move now. They have conquered Zaonica, and they are starting to move in on some other factions. The Northern Empire has now established a core for 6,000 gold, which is very, very dramatic. I have no idea what that means, by the way, establishing a core. I can only assume that means a capital city or something rather large like that. Further, making themselves powerful here. You can see that there's some very, very dramatic conflicts going on along the eastern area border between the Khuzait and a number of other factions. Oh, here we go. Wow, loads of places getting conquered right here. The Northern Empire has once again established another core. And I'm assuming that because they are making so much cash right now that they will eventually be the victor. But take your bets. Who do you think is going to achieve victory here? From my perspective right now, it does look as though the Northern Empire is having a massive advantage. But you know, I would actually love to see someone from one of these small factions actually start to be someone that can be rising up and taking the fight to the Northern Empire. I highly doubt that's going to be the case, but you never know. Maybe there is actually going to be something that will happen there. You can see that the Aserai have once again been conquered. Once again. Again and again and again. And, oh, okay, wait a minute. What actually happened right there? There was a bit of a lag spike right there. I actually did get another achievement, which was have a nation gain independence 3 times. Wow, okay. Well, it looks as though independence is definitely the name of the game right here. People are definitely doing that quite often, and you can see now we are seeing huge revolt in the Northern Empire itself, and they are once again, oh no, never mind, they are just completely murdering them in response to their revolt. Obviously, civil war is bound to occur in a faction this large. And if you couldn't already tell, there is a faction, shall we say, meter or a faction counter down in the bottom right of the screen. Basically, you can tell here by the red dot and the 15 or 14 now how many factions are actually involved in the game as it is at this point. So, as you see, we are now reaching 215 years since game start, and well, surprisingly enough, Sanala is actually still alive. I'm actually really surprised about that. We have the Western Empire starting to creep back, the Southern Empire as well. Oh, never mind. They literally just got conquered as soon as I said that. My bad, Southern Empire, my bad. The Khuzait Khanate are starting to sort of reform themselves and get their territory back in order. We also have another small faction trying to take over and cannibalize the other ones in the area, and that is in the form of Avalips here. And I'm actually surprised, to be honest, that they are not going further than this. There is a small faction of the Southern Empire in the middle of Avalips right now. That must be very awkward. Oh dear. Yes, but once again, the Northern Empire do seem to be kind of relaxing at the moment. They are supporting... Oh, no, here we go. They are supporting the Khuzait Khanate. The Northern Empire is coming down here. Marinia Castle actually just conquered Sanala. Very surprising. The Northern Empire is taking advantage of this by creeping in through the side. Unfortunately for the Northern Empire, though, the Avalips faction is now starting to eat away at their border slightly. I'm actually very surprised at this, but I would not be upset if one of these factions... Oh no, never mind! Okay, we've got another revolt in Avalips here. I guess I spoke too soon. As I said, I was actually thinking, oh no, they're gonna do something crazy cool, and no, they didn't. Yeah, no, they got a revolt happening there. But we now have each individual one of these factions eating away at the Northern Empire's border, and they are attempting to establish additional cores here. And because obviously their main capital city, as far as I could tell, was eliminated. As you can see, they have now moved up here to Sahir, which is indeed one of their main capital cities. I think this is probably the capital, as you can see from the map. They are highlighted there. And there are now 22 factions on the world map here. And you can see that if I zoom all the way out, this is literally a map on a wall. Yeah. I absolutely love these kinds of games. Absolutely love them. And, you know, being able to see this kind of thing happen in real time is so fun. You can also, obviously, as I said to you, you can involve yourself. So if you so desire, you can technically kind of guide your own faction to do whatever you would like them to do. For me personally, I find it a lot more fun to allow the AI to do whatever they want to do, because I'd like to see what actually happens. And of the original factions, only the Northern Empire and the Khuzait Khanate remain, so that makes me very intrigued as to what is going to happen next. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go away for a little bit. I'm going to let the game run for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to see what has actually transpired. I'm also going to be increasing the speed of the game to 5 times. So 5 minutes starts now. Alright, so it hasn't even been 5 minutes, and look at how the map has changed. Now, this is an extremely interesting development. Basically, what happened was every single one of these factions... Oh dear, never mind. They apparently have disbanded now. Okay. Well, there you go. I was about to explain it, but basically you can see exactly what pretty much happened. They formed a coalition. They literally formed their very own coalition of multiple states, creating basically what could be considered a union of people that would be working towards a common goal. And you could see there that they were called the Spotia States. Unfortunately, they have now disbanded that after about 100 years. I think they had 100 years or so of development, and they've now gone back into independence. So yeah, unfortunate for them, because they actually could have formed a pretty big threat to the Northern Empire here. The Northern Empire is still being the dominant force in the world at the moment. And I suppose I shouldn't be really, super surprised by that. But yeah, anyway, I did reduce the speed before we came back here. It was playing on ×5. Let's speed it up to ×5 and actually see how much this changes, because there are so many very, very cool things that happen here. And I would love to see if we actually get any kind of significant change from the Northern Empire. I really want to see whether they start to get problems with civil war, or maybe the Khuzait Khanate actually start to gain power. I don't actually know, but from what I can tell right now, the Northern Empire do seem to have some very significant... Oh, here we go. Sister Dime Castle doing something. A little bit. And Sonala's League. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Oh, there might be a thing happening with that. Oh, here we go. They're actually expanding their borders. Sestadime Castle is actually conquering a couple of things around here. Very nice. Look at that. They're actually expanding quite dramatically. The Northern Empire is having their territory taken away. And the Sestadime Syndicate does seem to be a thing right now. Okay, that's interesting. I am very much hoping that they might be able to do a little bit more. Go for it, guys. Come on now. No, never mind. Now they're getting destroyed. There you go, completely and utterly destroyed right there. They were conquered by Marinia Castle, and now we have these crazy amounts of factions just taking away the Khuzait's territory, but now the Khuzait have once again fought back. Wow. Look at that. Okay, so what's actually happening here now? Now we have... Is this the Khuzait? This is the Khuzait right here. Okay, very interesting. So basically, the Khuzait have this territory over here, and then Marinia Castle is over here too. So the Khuzait has separated and has a small section of territory here, and Marinia Castle have completely cut them off. And now, oh dear, now they have revolted in Marinia, and now they are starting to form all these little factions individually. And I have to admit, that's probably not the best idea for them to do that. But, well, what can you do, eh? What can you do? Now, Zestia is coming back, and they're starting to form a little bit of trouble there. A little bit of trouble, but, yeah. Looks as though we'll... I'm going to wait for 100 years. See what happens in 100 years, shall we? Well, what do we have here? It's been about 300 years in actual fact. I decided to wait for a little bit longer here because we now have a significant balance of... Well, apparently not. I was going to say, we now have a significant balance of power shift here, but no, we didn't, because Gauss Castle and the United Gauss Castle faction apparently did not do much. And you can see here we now have another couple of factions right here too, and the Khuzait, they're looking very, very small right now, and they still have a bit of territory down here, but not much otherwise. We also have training field states. They've now been formed. You can see here that they're actually starting to destroy the Northern Empire. I'm actually very surprised about that. And we have a bunch of different people joining alliances, joining the training field states as well. And indeed, what we can do is we can pause for a real quick second, and we can actually edit some territory. So what we can do is we can even spawn cities, we can edit terrain, we can do all kinds of crazy cool things. So for example, let's say that I wanted to edit the terrain here, and let's say I wanted to make a little bit of a bridge. I'm actually not entirely sure. How does this work? How does this work? Because I actually don't know. I don't know how this works, unfortunately. Am I doing this right? Am I actually doing this right? No, I don't think so, right? Because I actually have no idea. Did I actually do that right? Yeah, because I've never done this before, really. What is this? Edit territory, spawn nations. Okay, so if I spawn my nation, for example, if I spawn Reformia down here, what does that do? Does that actually do anything? Can I rename this? Yes, rename it. Reformia. There we go. Perfect. Alright. So, what does this actually do now? That's the thing. Let's see. Attack a nation. Well, I'm just going to let it do its own thing. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to increase the amount of gold it has, just to make sure that it actually stays alive for a little bit of time, because I'd like to see what actually happens with it. And we can even edit its territory, right? We can edit its territory, so we can just make it... Yeah, we can edit its territory. So let's make it relatively large, right? And we can change its brush size. Let's make the brush size a little bit larger. There we go. There's Reformia. Look at that. It's a wonderful brown color. I love that. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to be going with... Basically, it's going to have the entire like bottom area here. And we're just going to see what it's capable of doing. Okay. I'm just going to see if it is actually capable of traveling through here. Because obviously I have added this territory here. And I'm not entirely sure. No, never mind. There we go. It actually seems like it might work. Okay. So let's give it a go, shall we? Because I have never done this before, so I have no idea whether it's going to work. But let's try it and see what happens. Seems like Reformia is actually spreading out. I might have made it a bit too large. Did I make it a bit too large? Well, is it bad that I want my faction to win? I do want my faction to win, but it is very poor at the moment. I didn't give it any additional gold. So it might very well get eliminated. If it gets eliminated instantly, then that's going to be quite funny. But, you know, let's just see. Let's just see what actually happens here. We're still playing on 5 times speed, mind you. And I wouldn't mind if we were to see Reformia destroy everyone. But I'm going to assume that they will have some revolts because, you know, civil war and all that stuff does tend to happen quite often. Alright, so look at this. Reformia has actually joined a conglomerate of Greater Kanoros. That is what we've done. And we have now seized Kyrenia from the puppet Policia. And we are now going to... Oh, no, never mind. That lasted a very small amount of time, didn't it? Yeah. That alliance basically, I mean, it wasn't even an alliance really, it was basically a pseudo faction, I guess, you know, as I said, more of a I don't even know, a unification of various states and actually making that a thing. But yeah, you can see here that Reformia is now spreading up the side here. I don't think we're really going to be able to do too much against the richer faction of the Northern Empire, because, as I said, Reformia literally has no gold whatsoever, or shouldn't have that much money, at least. I don't think so. Let's have a look. How much do we have? Oh, I can't tell right now. I zoomed in a bit too fast. We have 7,000. All right. So 7,000 is actually not too bad, but obviously we are going to continue establishing cores and things like that, and we'll see if something happens. Ah, yes. All right, well, so we were conquered. Yeah, we were conquered by Ethemisa, and I have no idea what Ethemisa is or what that actually even came into it. But yeah, we literally just got conquered instantaneously without basically any fanfare whatsoever. So yes, Reformia is no more, unfortunately, and as you can see, the Khuzait are now spreading out into our old territory, as well as Danustica and Rivshire. And indeed, because of the changes I've made to the map, things are now starting to heat up a little bit in the regional control sector, I guess you could kind of call it, because now the Khuzait have been allowed to spread down here. They're no longer restricted to the top right. And as you see, Zeonica is actually still alive, Gauss Castle, etc., etc. And the Northern Empire is starting to lose territory ever so slightly. They're starting to very much have a bit of a problem on their hands. And I'm actually surprised they're still not fighting back in a significant enough way to make any real difference. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I gotta say, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. And you know what? I'm gonna see what actually happens with this. I really want to see what actually ends up happening and which faction ends up being the victor. But obviously, I'm probably gonna have to let it run for quite some time before that happens, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and I'm obviously not going to interfere any more than I already have. And we're gonna see what actually see what happens as time goes on. So if you'd like to check out the game, there is a link in the description. And for me personally, I think it's super fun to see what happens. You can obviously create your own factions. You can do whatever you want. You can literally create entire bits of terrain however you like. And you can create your own scenarios, upload them to the workshop. You can download stuff from the workshop, and you can play it like I am right now. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.